we already finished one of the first chapter of Narada Bhakti Sutra. This book is available. Sunday feast, you can get it.
Okay.
I also have a few copies that I bought for potential students that can read a copy. So we studied the first chapter, and it was called The Value of Devotion. It's more like, if we want something, why do we want it? We have to have a reason that we want it. You want to go to school, you want to get your PhD, you better have a good reason. Otherwise, you're not going to spend 8-9 years studying at a high level. You have to have a good reason for it. So we finished that chapter and to give the different definitions of bhakti. Now we're looking at chapter 2, and it's very beautiful. It's called Defining Bhakti. And it starts with, I think it gives 4 definitions of different personality who give a definition of bhakti. So the commentator, um, um, well, it's supposed to be Narada Bhakti Sutra, but it talks about Narada Muni. So it's really the teachings of Narada. It's not like Narada said this per se. So the definition, it says all the definitions are good together, but some are better than others. So we're going to take a close look, and then we also look at a few poems by that are collected by Rupa Goswami, and that he put together in a volume and had about 350 poems, the Punjabi, and I translated it from Sanskrit. I've had this book in my possession, I think, almost 10 years. So we'll read a little bit from that also. So first we look at defining bhakti. In the Sutra 15, it says, Tal Lakshanani Pachanti Nana Matan Vedat. I'll read it one more time. Tal Lakshanani Vachanti Nana Mata Vedat. Now, Veda, we may know the word Veda means various, more than one. So, Vedat is here referring to various definitions that are spoken, Nana. Nana Lakshan. Lakshan means characteristic. These are various characteristics that are given of bhakti. This is beautiful about this book. These are not shlokas. These are not long verses. Very short, one sentence, sometimes half a sentence, sometimes half a phrase. Very beautiful. So this is I'll read first the English definition, then we'll look at the word for word. Now, the characteristics of devotional service will be described according to various authoritative opinions. So naturally, he's not going to recite, but of course, sometimes we can also recite something that we think is not valuable. Just like I might be talking about theism, but I might also cite a definition of an atheist and then discuss what is the contrast here. So look at the word for word. Tat, of it, what we're discussing, the subject, it is devotional service, bhakti. Lakshanani, the characteristics, vachanti, are enunciated. Nana, various. Mata, of theories. Vedat, according to the differences. So this is the introductory remark of that verse. Now we're going to briefly also refer to it last week, and I did read Prabhupada's purport. He wrote the first, I think, 10 or so sutras. Maybe this might not even be his anymore. He wrote the commentary on the first maybe 15 sutras, and then different Prabhupada's disciples took over, notably Satsaguru Maharaj and his editor in Sanskrit translated. So Prabhupada was saying, in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.523, Prahlad Maharaj very clearly states that the essential activities of devotional service are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Nivedanam. We've heard this so many times. And we can also see that you might think that we're going from a lower to a higher level, but it's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily uh, piled up like this, which is all of these are, they say of all the things, Shravanam is the most important. Then you can reach in the end the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Huh? The Shravanam, hearing about the devotional service. So it's very important that we understand the different phases. It has different phases, just like remembering. If we hear and we repeat, but later on we can't remember anything, this is not very good. How much pleasure do we get from recalling some verses we know, or recalling something we heard in class today, like today? What is it? The person who gives the class made so many beautiful remarks, and we made a few notes, and some of it you want to remember. So it's very nice. So now 16 gives you an idea of some of the four definitions that you will discuss. It says, Puja Dishwanurama iti Parasharyaha. Again, Puja Dishwan Anuraga iti Parasharyaha. So this is, uh, it's referencing Vyasadeva. Vyasadev's other name is Parasharya. So listen to the word for word. Puja, Adishu, for worshipping, etc. Adi means etc. And so on. Anuraga, fondness. Interesting, fondness is not bad. Anuraga means actually very strong attachment. Iti, so things, etc. Parasharyaha, Vyasadeva, the son of Parashar. And translation. Srila Vyasadeva, the son of Parashar Muni, says that bhakti is fond attachment for worshipping the Lord in various ways. So fond attachment for worshipping the Lord in various ways. So you can see in a sense that refers to puja, doing puja, worshipping the Lord. So this is, so common, but if we don't spend all day worshiping, we might worship the Lord and puja 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here at home. And of course, in the temple, we have 6 or 7 pujas a day. So it's very pronounced because the temple is a place, the public is coming, and there's certain formalities are there. When you're at home, there's a certain informality. So that is one of the ways that bhakti is to be understood, is by performing puja. Now, the second one is Katha Dishva iti Vargaha. So, Katha, you know what that is. Narrations, and Adishu means etc. For narrations, etc. iti. So, Garga Muni is speaking. So, can you see very beautiful short sentences? Katha Dishviti Gargaha. Garga Muni says that bhakti is fondness for narrations about the Lord, by the Lord, and so on. So it's very ironic that in Sanskrit we have 3 words, and in English we have 20 words. It's very hilarious. So Sanskrit is in many ways far more compact because the grammar is so clever that you don't need so many words. We change the noun. We don't change nouns in English, When you say house, it's always a house. But in Sanskrit, it changes in the house, on the house, with the house, etc. So, again, Garga Muni says that bhakti is fondness for narrations about the Lord, by the Lord, and so on. I'll read the first line of the purport. As Garga Muni taught the importance of attachment for hearing Krishna Katha, so Srila Prabhupada also stressed Krishna Katha. So you can say, since the purport is talking about Prabhupada no longer is commenting, or I think he went to the Bhagavatam, I forget where he went to, but he did something else and he abandoned his project. But it was very nice that the devotees actually finished it in due course of time. So Prabhupada stressed Krishna Katha. One type of Krishna Katha consists of words directly spoken from the mouth of the Lord, says Bhagavad Gita. Lord Chaitanya advocated that we repeat the words spoken by Krishna, Krishna Upadesh, to whomever we meet. Of course, when you meet somebody, you don't start quoting Bhagavad Gita. It doesn't make any sense, of course. First of all, we have to see who we are speaking to, otherwise they think we are madmen. Not just start talking Gita to strangers on the street. But the point is that we are interested on sharing this knowledge. That is the whole point. Does it make sense to you,
Yeah.
Nima?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we want to share. It's just like when you have something that you really love, and like a certain recipe, then you want to share that recipe with others because you want others to also have that taste. And this is ras. This is why it's bhakti ras amrita. We want to share the taste, share the bliss. We say share the bliss. So it's very important that we have facility to do this. So Gargamuni is suggesting that kata, etc., etc., should be shared. And this morning, what did we hear exactly? No, we didn't hear this morning. I think I was reading it recently, but again, it was focusing my mind on this, that Krishna and his name are non-different, and the Leela is non-different. So this is very incredible. Like we hear many times, Krishna and his name are non-different. But recently, I read that statement that his Leela is also non-different. It's very important that we should understand that. I'm sure we haven't heard that so much. Otherwise, I wouldn't even quote it if we'd heard it, not at infinitum. But actually, if Krishna's name is properly invoked and it is spoken in higher consciousness, that immediately leads us into the lila, and that lila is whatever lila is apropos for you. I've had some experience when I first came to the movement. They were reading some portions of the Bhagavatam, and I moved right into it and just listening. So fascinating, just fascinating. So this is the kind of attachment that we have to develop, the attachment for hearing, Shravanam. Then, when we repeat it, then when we remember it, then that fondness for hearing about the Lord, etc., will be followed in due course of time by us being witnesses to the Lord's lila. That is the whole point. It's not just that we're witnesses, but that we are also participants. That is the whole point. It's like when the gopis first met Krishna. I was telling you, one of the first big incidents is when Krishna was lifting a Govardhan hill, and the gopis, very young girls in the village, heard that Krishna was lifting the hill. They ran there and they saw Krishna. Many of them saw him for the first time. They had never actually seen him. They saw him for the first time. So so they came and made a relationship with Krishna in their heart, and Krishna made a relationship with them. You've heard this story that when he looked at the gopis, his hands started trembling, and the mountain started shaking. And Balaram said, "What are you doing? Stop looking around. Pay focus on your work." This is Bharabai telling Chotabai what to do. So it's very beautiful. So that leads to Krishna Lila. So you can remember that. Nam, Krishna, Nam, and Lila are all related. Not artificially, but actually. So this is this Karga movie. Bhakti's fondness for narration about the Lord and by the Lord Krishna. And it's just like I often point out when we hear Bhagavad Gita, of course, that it's introductory in many ways because it deals a lot with fighting, do this, this, don't do this, don't be attached to work, etc. 700 verses. And it's very beautiful, it's a song. But that is the beginning. At the end of Srimad Bhagavatam, the 11th canto, the song of the Uddhava Gita, is of a completely different nature. And Krishna's not telling Uddhav, hey, you got to do this. You don't want to do this, but you must do this. You should understand what is beauty. It's completely on a different level. They're together. They're narrating different past, and they're actually going over Krishna's major teachings, but he gives it in a slightly different way. They go over Sankhya and all of the different elements of the yoga philosophy. So, and then interjecting with Buddha, but it's on a completely, not, I shouldn't say completely different level from Bhagavad Gita, but it doesn't have the ending where somebody has to kill, 10 million people. No, it's a completely shanti, very shanti. But say in the Gita, shanti, shantaha, forget how the Sanskrit go. Without shanti, how there shall be any happiness. Shantaha kuta sukhaha. That's how it goes. Shantaha kuta sukhaha. That's what it says. End of chapter 2. One of my favorite phrases. How shall there be happiness without peace? So this is very important because in our modality we have 5 rasas, and even though the last rasa, the fifth rasa is shanti, it's shantaras, and it only came recently. That rasa was introduced by Abhinavagupta 1,000 years ago, who was a devotee of Shiva, and it was introduced, and our line also accepted that instead of 4 rasas, Chatur, originally Chatur became Pancharas. So that is a very important element because all of nature is Shantaras. The trees, the flowers, the wind, Dira Samira, the wind is blowing, there's Shantaras. So Shantaras is what embraces us, what gives us the taste of Vrindavan. It's one of the reasons that in my Gopal Champu session, which I like to read, the beginning of the book that gives a definition of Vrindavan. At the end of the book, it gives you again very big exposition and where they are going, and then the middle of the book, it doesn't deal with lila per se, but more with what you call the setting, what you call the literary terms, you call it imagery, the imagery, very fond of the imagery. So, kata about Krishna. So that's the second bhakti, definition of bhakti, why we should be attracted to bhakti. Then there is the third one. I'm going to read it. And I'm just letting you know, Nina, ahead of time, that my sessions are always 48 minutes, one muhurta.
Okay.
And in the old days, there was no hours. It's not 24 hours a day, but it was 30 muhurtas a day, 30 times 48 minutes. So I like muhurta because it's a little shorter, and it gives more variety to the day. What do you think of that idea?
Yeah, excellent.
It's good, isn't it? Just like when you chant japa, you can say 2 hours, but generally you can do your japa in 2 muhurtas, don't you think? So it's very charming. You can use it sometimes. You're meeting somebody, say, I have 1 muhurta at my disposal for you. And you have to tell them how long it is or how short it is, right?
Yes.
So then the next one, because half an hour is gone now. So the next one, it says in Sanskrit, so this is Sutra 18, Atma Rati Avirodinati Shandiyaha. So you have to remember this is all, the Sanskrit is all Sandhi, all the words are run together. So you have to take it apart. If you don't take it apart, then you can't understand it. And that's the beauty about Sanskrit. It's written the way it's spoken. But we don't write the way it's spoken. My God, how complex English would be. So again, word for word, Atma in relation with the Supreme Soul, Rati of pleasure, Avirodena by freedom from obstruction, iti, so, Shandiyaha. So this is the translation is like this. Shandilya says that in our movement, it's often overlooked. We always talk Krishna wants this, Krishna. It doesn't matter what I want, Krishna wants, Krishna wants. But actually, we don't emphasize that actually that's what I want. I want that Krishna should be happy. You see? Just like when we have children, uh, I might accommodate them in so many things, but I want that they should be happy. It's not that they should be happy, but that's what I want. So sometimes, please, put yourself in the picture too. I find it very impersonal when devotees leave themselves out of the picture. And that's not what Krishna is looking for. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah? Because why are we bhaktas? Because isn't that because we feel so happy that we have a relationship with Krishna? Because it's not just Krishna who wants a relationship with us, he does. But if Krishna doesn't see that you are happy, you're becoming animate. Your Atman is becoming, because actually the word here, it says Atman. Let me look at the verse again. Where is it? Oh yes, here, the bottom of the page. Atma Rati. So Atma here it says in relation with the Supreme Soul, but it's very interesting that we couldn't have just left it at Atma, the self. You see, not Paramatma. We could have just left it at that, but we're always pushing that there should be no pleasure for me. But this is not correct. Our pleasure is in pleasing Krishna. That's our pleasure. Huh? That's our pleasure. If we sweep, if I sweep, I like sweeping. I can't stand vacuuming. I don't want to vacuum for Krishna. But I'm happy to sweep for Krishna. Because when we clean, when we make things more beautiful, and we're using our body in a manner that's amenable to us, agreeable. I can't stand vacuums and all the noise and all these nasty things. But then Krishna is also happy. Does that make any sense to you, or do you think that's selfish?
No, that's good.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah? Just like some of us like cooking, some of us like cleaning, some of us like gardening, some of us like, teaching other people about Krishna consciousness. So it's a very individual thing. We should not take that individuality away from each other, because our spiritual DNA is so acutely individual that it should be emphasized. It's very acutely individual. Just like, can you imagine there's not a soul on the planet has the same DNA as I do, same fingerprint. Can you imagine? It's unimaginable, but it is true. So our spiritual DNA is like that. It's unique. So they feel happiness, that there is happiness in our relationship to Krishna. And that's what makes Krishna happy. Huh? Like the gopis running away in the night, and Krishna is actually, the little boy says, come on, you're running away, you have husbands, you have children, go home. I said, no, we will die. We came to see you. And Krishna reciprocates, because they want to see Krishna. It's not just that they want to serve him. They're not going to cook for him in the middle of the night. They're not cleaning his house. They want to enjoy with him. You see? They want to enjoy. So, of course, what is enjoyment for what is the enjoyment of Mother Yashoda, etc., in cooking for Krishna, taking care of him, or chastising him like a mother. She gets pleasure in chastising him. Or Krishna's friends who joke with him. They're using vulgar language. They joke on, they steal things. They switch each other's lunch when somebody's crying. They're laughing. Just like ordinary kids. It's ordinary psychology. That is below. And then, of course, we have the servants. They're slightly different. There's a bit more awe and reverence. They cannot just be joking with Krishna, but they joke amongst themselves. I can swear. Just like those of you from India, that you have servants, and in front of you they're very polite, but when you're not there, then they joke about you. They say, "Oh, look at our Devi, look at the way she speaks Hindi," and they start imitating me with Canadian accent, isn't it? Like when I'm in